Hello everyone! In this video, I want to implement a data science project that's going to use several Google Cloud services and the Twitter API. The core service that I want to show you in this video is Google Cloud PubSub. I have pulled up here the Google Cloud PubSub documentation. If you're not familiar with it, let's briefly get a sense of what PubSub is used for, and if you'd like, you can read more on this page later. So it says PubSub is an asynchronous and scalable messaging service that decouples services producing messages from services processing those messages. And then if we skip down to this paragraph, it provides names of services for those that produce the messages, aka publishers, and those that consume the messages or process those messages, aka subscribers. So we're going to create a demo, a project together in this video that will include a publisher that's going to publish tweets as they stream in from the Twitter API as messages to a topic, and then we'll have a subscriber that is going to subscribe to this topic, and every time there's a new message, aka tweet, in our topic, the subscriber is going to take that message and insert it as a row in Google BigQuery. So there's a lot to unpack in what I just described. Let's draw a picture to see all the major parts of this demo and how they fit together. First, on the left side of our picture, our diagram, we're going to have the Twitter API. The Twitter API exposes a service called Filtered Stream, where we can stream tweets, essentially being notified when a new tweet comes in that matches our filter rules. We'll be streaming these tweets via a simple Python script. This Python script is going to run locally initially for testing, but then towards the end of the video, I'll show you how you can move it up to the Google Compute Engine, which is essentially a way to create a virtual machine in the cloud. So our entire solution runs in the cloud and nothing runs locally on our machines, our laptops. So once our Python script gets a new tweet from the Twitter API streaming service, it's going to create a PubSub message and publish that message to our PubSub topic. Next, this PubSub topic is going to trigger any subscribers that are subscribed to this topic. We will have one, and it'll be implemented as a Google Cloud function. I'm running out of room here, so I'm going to go down the page here. What this Google Cloud function is going to do as a subscriber is every time it gets notified or triggered that there's a new message, it's going to insert that message into a Google Cloud BigQuery table. So, like I said, by the end of this video, all of these pieces should be in place in the cloud, and our system will be fully automated and running, logging all of the tweets that match our filter rules into a BigQuery table. In a recent video, I introduced Google Cloud Functions and Google Cloud BigQuery in a very simple manner. For Cloud Functions, we created a function that ran using Cloud Scheduler, like every minute or every 24 hours at a certain time. And then for BigQuery, we saw how we could make a data set, a table, and then insert rows into that table from our Cloud function. Also, in a previous video, I introduced how to get started with the Twitter API and how to use a really handy Python package called TweetPy. If you're not familiar with the Twitter API or TweetPy, I recommend watching that video to help you get started. So really, the main part here is going to be streaming, and then, of course, this PubSub topic setup here. Now let's head over to our Python script and see how we can get started streaming tweets using a filtered rule. To get started with streaming tweets from the Twitter API using the TweetPy Python package, we need to take a look at the documentation for the streaming client class. We're going to subclass this class so that we can create an object that will allow us to add filtered rules to our client to specify what kind of tweets do we want to stream, open a connection, get a callback when we are connected, have a callback for when a new tweet has arrived that matches our filter rules, and then close the connection and have a callback when our connection has been closed. You can see here that we'll need to provide a bearer token in order to authenticate with the API. I cover how to get this in a previous video. And then there are some additional keyword arguments that we can provide, like what kind of return type do we want for our tweets, whether we should wait when we reach our API rate limit, which is initialized to false, etc. There are some handy attributes of this class that we can query, like for example, running, whether there's currently a stream running. And then there are some handy methods like add rules, where we can add rules to specify the tweets that we want to stream. We'll definitely be using this. Delete rules to delete any already added rules. And then this method is really important here, filter. This is the method we call to start streaming tweets in real time based on the set of filter rules that we've already added. You can see that there are several keyword arguments for this method that we can provide. For example, if we want some additional tweet fields beyond the basic ones we get back by default for each tweet, we'll have to specify them here. I've already taken the time to write the code to subclass the streaming client class so that this video isn't really long. Let's take a look at it. So first off, I'm importing JSON, pandas, and TweetPy. You will need to pip install pandas and TweetPy in order to get this code to work. Here's where I subclass tweetpy.streamingClient. I name this class TweetStreamer. You can see in the initializer that I'm accepting the bearer token and passing it on up to the superclass initializer. And I'm setting wait on rate limit to be true. That way, when we reach our rate limit, like the number of tweets we can get in a certain time period, our object essentially is just going to wait and wait and wait until it can resume streaming again. This next method here is one that I've written to help us out with our tweet streamer, clear and set filter rules. So if there are any existing rules, I'm going to get them, delete them, and then set new ones based on the filter terms that are passed in to this method. At the time of this writing, with the free access to the Twitter API called the Essential Access, the maximum number of rules that you can provide is 5. And so you'll just want to keep that in mind when you are setting up calling this method when you make your tweet streamer object, that you can only filter based on 5 different terms. So here's where I make a stream rule for each term. It's passed in. I add the rules by calling a superclass method, and then I get the rules and print out how many we have in total, just to make sure that I'm not accumulating a bunch of rules. Just the ones that I've just set have been set. These are callbacks that I've overridden just to have nice console messages. On connect, printing connection successful. On disconnect, printing connection disconnected. And this is probably the most important callback here, which is on tweet. So this method is called whenever a new tweet that matches our filtered rules has arrived. This method has one parameter, which is the tweet object itself. From this tweet object, we can grab all of the fields that we're interested in. For example, the tweet ID, the author ID, created at, you can see this I parse out slightly differently because I want it to be in a certain format that matches the date time type of this field in my BigQuery table. We'll talk about BigQuery a little bit later in the video. And then, of course, the text or the content of the tweet. I package all this tweet information up into a dictionary, and right now I'm just printing out the dictionary. What we will do later is we'll call a function called publish tweet, and publish tweet is going to push this tweet as a message to our PubSub topic. So I'll put a little to-do in here, which is publish tweet to PubSub topic. We'll come back and do that in a little bit. So that's the end of the class. Now I've got this main down here. If this module is run directly, it's going to extract my bearer token from twitterkeys.json, make a tweet streamer object passing in that bearer token. And here's just a little comment describing what I said earlier about how many rules you can provide your filtered stream with the free tier as of the time of this video recording. Here are the two filter terms that I'm going to set up rules for. So this first one, just sticking with my theme from my previous videos, is the username for the Gonzaga University men's basketball team. So any tweets from this username, and then I also have from my own account. This is important because I'll need to be able to make a tweet to test that my streamer is working. I control this account, so I could do that at any time. Of course, I don't control other accounts that aren't my own, like this one, so I'd have to maybe wait a long time in order for a tweet to be posted from this username account and then see that my streamer is working. So I encourage you to put in your own Twitter username here so that you can test that your streamer is working by posting your own tweet. All right, here's where I call that method that I wrote clear and set filter rules, saying, hey, make some stream rules for these filter terms. And then most importantly, line 48, here's where we call that filter method to start streaming. I provided some tweet fields, some extra arguments about what information I want beyond the default information you can get from a tweet from the Twitter API. Specifically, I want the created at, when was the tweet posted initially, and author ID, who wrote this tweet. You can also set threaded to true so that your tweet streamer runs on its own thread. And if you want to gracefully disconnect from Twitter, call streamer.disconnect. For testing purposes, I'll just be killing our script, but it would probably be better to, get from the user maybe a key like Q and then call streamer.disconnect to gracefully disconnect. All right, this should be enough code for us to test and get a sense for how the tweet streamer works. You will need an internet connection, of course, to test this out since we're streaming from Twitter database, from the Twitter API. All right, so it says add a number of rules, 2, so that's 1 for the Gonzaga men's basketball team and 1 for myself. And then it says connection successful from our onConnect callback. So now I'm going to go to my Twitter account and I'm going to tweet. I'll do the classic testing 1, 2, 3. And I just press the tweet button so you can see how long it takes before the tweet gets streamed into our streaming client tweet streamer. And there it is. So here's the unique tweet ID. This is my unique user ID. Here's when it was created at, and then there's the text that I put in my tweet. So it looks like our streaming client is working locally. And now we're ready to move on to the PubSub part. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to console.cloud.google.com and we're going to make a service account for our PubSub. So let's hit create service account. You can choose what name you give your service account. I'll just do PubSub service account. And then we'll hit create and continue. We will need to add roles to this service account. So the 2 roles we need to add, let's search for PubSub editor. And then the next role that we're going to add is the BigQuery data editor. This way we can use our service account for our Cloud function that is going to insert these rows, these tweets, as rows into our BigQuery table. All right, continue. And done. So now identify your newly created service account, and under the Actions column, click the 3 dots icon in order to find the context menu for Manage Keys. Under Manage Keys, we're going to choose Add Key, Create New Key, and then we're going to download a JSON file with our key information. Let's call this googlekeys.json, and you'll want to save it in the same directory as your main.py, where you've got your tweet streamer that we were just working on. So now I've got my googlekeys.json in my Cloud PubSub fun folder, which is where my main.py is with my streamer. Before we forget, let's add the name of this file to our gitignore so that these Google keys don't accidentally end up on GitHub. Great. So now let's go back to the Google Cloud Console and let's search for PubSub. You may need to enable the PubSub APIs. Once this loads, we're going to create a PubSub topic. We'll give it some sort of ID or name, and then we'll copy its path so that we can use it in our code to publish messages to. So hit Create Topic. I'll call my topic Tweets. You can leave the box checked for Add a Default Subscription, and then under Encryption, Google Manage Encryption Key, no configuration required. Perfect. Now you can see where it says topic name, there's a path, projects, the name of your project, and then topics, and then tweets, or whatever you gave for your topic ID. We want to copy that to our clipboard. And then we'll go back to our code. And if you haven't already done so, you'll want to pip install google-cloud-pubsub. So we'll be able to, let's spell Google right. So we'll be able to publish to this topic using the Google Cloud PubSub Python SDK. So in main, we're going to scroll up and we're going to import that package that you just pip installed. So from google.cloud import PubSub. Next, we'll do os.environ, and we will add an environment variable for Google application credentials. You will want to name this key, this environment variable name, exactly as you see here, Google_application_credentials. This is the name of an environment variable that the PubSub library or package is going to look for in order to find the file name, which for us will be googlekeys.json, or the path, I should say, to where it can find the service account credentials to make sure that when we try to publish a message to a topic, we actually are authorized to do so. Looks like I will need to import OS in order to update this environment variable. Next, let's make a variable for, call it our topic path ID, for our topic path that we copied to our clipboard. Here's mine. Now, we've got all these pieces of information we need: the package, the credentials, the topic path, everything we need in order to attempt to publish our tweet as a message to that topic. So we had a to-do in here. It's time to return to it. Publish tweet to PubSub topic. So let's call a function. We're going to write publish tweet, and we pass in values. All right, so this is just going to be a standard function. It's not going to be a method of the tweet streamer class. So publish tweet, and it's going to accept a tweet dictionary, or call this whatever you'd like. Essentially, it's going to look something like this. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a PubSub publisher client. Next, we're going to make a string from our tweet dictionary that will be able to be published as a PubSub message to our topic. So to do this, we'll just use the handy JSON library. We'll do dumps, to get a string representation of a JSON object, which in our case is a dictionary. So we'll do tweet dictionary, and we'll do .encode this string in the UTF-8 format. Now we'll be able to call publisher .publish, and the first thing we'll pass in is our topic path. You can see that should be a string. Next is data. So that will be our tweet string. And this is going to return what's called a future object, which is essentially a delayed result. So we can wait for that result to make sure that this is successful with confirmation ID, so to speak. So let's print out the dictionary that we just created into a byte string. And let's print out the publish result, which is future.result. And I'll mention that this future.result is going to block and wait for that confirmation to come back. So this will be a blocking call right here. All right, we've got everything set up to test this locally because we went through that extra effort of downloading the Google keys.json, setting up our environment variable. I think we're good to try this out. So I'm going to run this. Make sure we see connection successful. And then I'm going to make another tweet from my account. And I'll write in this one, does this make it to PubSub? And I'm pushing tweet right now. All right, here we go. So here was our original dictionary we printed out. And then here's our dictionary printed out again from line 46. And you can see there's a publish result, and then there's a result. I like to call this confirmation code. So it looks like this was successful. Being able to successfully publish a tweet as a message to our Cloud PubSub topic is a natural breaking point for dividing this whole project into two videos. So today, in this video, we successfully were able to stream tweets from the Twitter API with a Python script running locally and publish each tweet as a message to our PubSub topic. Now, we need to worry about the other half of PubSub, the subscribe side. That's where we'll pick up in our next video. So stay tuned in order to finish the project and see this working from beginning to end. Thanks for watching.